Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This time we're going to be doing a bit of a different video. We're not going to be doing much racing per se. We're obviously going to be driving. If you haven't been able to tell from the thumbnail and the video title yet, we're going to be having a look at what the off tracks and the slowdowns actually mean, and whether or not my sort of theory about the off track penalty system is actually correct. And I'm sort of going to explore my opinion about it. Now, what this has come from really is a thing that I saw in my stream the other night about someone sort of maybe taking a bit of liberties with the track limits, if you like, and it got me to thinking. That guy obviously wasn't picking up any off-track penalties like incident points, or he wasn't picking up a slowdown. Okay, and it got me to thinking that I'd seen something in the sporting code. Please forgive my phone going off there. That says this. Okay, it's about illegal surfaces and using parts of the track that aren't necessarily the racing surface to gain an advantage. And it made me wonder, why does that rule exist if we already have things like slowdown penalties and off tracks, which got me to thinking as well about how the off track system works and what its intended purpose is. So let's get rid of this for the time being, okay? Let's have a look at what's driven me to explore this. So I'm going to do a magic transition here. There we go. And now I'm going to have to do a bit of magic quick mouse work. There we go. Hopefully that's not giving you enough time to pause the video and analyze it frame by frame to try and get this guy's identity, because this chap's identity is not important at all. Okay, I don't want anyone trying to track this guy down. I don't have anything personal against the guy, because he absolutely was not the only person doing this. Okay, and I want to know what we think about this. So on the rundown to turn 1 at Daytona, he's already very far over to the right hand side, excuse me, much further over than I would be, and much further over than it looks like the majority of the other competitors are going, because he's well off the dark rubbered in racing line, and as he gets into the corner, he's a good car's width outside of what I consider to be track limits, as sort of defined by the white lines, okay? And what this essentially enables him to do is carry more speed into the corner, turn in later, and get a cracking exit out of this corner to gain loads of time on the guy in front of him. Now, this guy's probably gained anything up to about a quarter of a second over his competitor thanks to that. All right, granted, the guy in front of us did make a mistake. He ran wide, missed his apex, all the rest of it. But even if he didn't, I'm convinced that he would have gained buckets of time, hand over fist, over this guy just by taking liberties with the track limits. And like I said, would he have been doing this if he was getting an off-track incident point or a slowdown for it? Okay, which got me to wondering, what is the point of an off-track incident? Now, I've always sort of considered that the point of those incident points is to tell you, is essentially the game telling you, hey, where you've gotten off track, that's unsafe. Maybe try avoid doing that in future, because you could potentially cause an accident. You could potentially lose control of your car, or things could go badly for you. That's, because it's tied to your safety rating, and that kind of makes sense to me. And then on the other hand, you've got your slowdown penalties to sort of enforce you to give back time if the game determines that you've gained an advantage, which in my opinion, in this particular circumstance, this guy has. So I've come up with an idea to sort of test my hypothesis. And we're going to go to 2 or 3 tracks on the sim or on the game and sort of see how things shake out. Okay, so we're going to try and do a nice little transition here. I'll be back in a moment. Let's just stay right with me. Okay, so here we are at Interlagos. This is the first track that I have chosen because in its rules page it outlines exactly which corners incur penalties, okay? And we're going to sort of interrogate these corners in a little bit of detail. So what we're going to do is, I've got the track map on screen now, okay? And we're going to sort of look at corners 3, 4, 5, 7, and 11, okay? And sort of see what happens if you exceed track limits and try and gain an advantage in those corners, okay? So I'll just get the car on track. I'll come back when I'm starting a flying lap, so stay with me. Okay, so here we go, about to start a lap at Interlagos. Again, just a reminder, we're going to be having a look at turns 3, 4, 5, 7 and 11. Okay, so this is turn 1, okay. Of course it is, we should all know that because it is the first corner since the start line. I really probably should have scripted this, which makes this turn 3, so at least I think it does. So if we go off, okay, cool. So first question there is, do we think that was particularly unsafe, that runoff area? I feel like I was in control of the car, and yes, I gained an advantage, but it didn't necessarily feel unsafe. This, if I recall correctly, is turn 5. Again, if we go off track here, again, that's loads of runoff there. It doesn't necessarily feel unsafe. Yes, I perhaps gained an advantage, but beyond, I mean, if I gained an advantage, surely I should be getting some kind of request to give that advantage back, as opposed to an effect on my safety score for doing something that wasn't particularly unsafe. So the last one we're going to try this lap is turn 11. So the entry to turn 11, you can go all the way out wide. Well, you can't go all the way out wide here because there you go. There's the slowdown. Okay, so we did get a slowdown because we gained an advantage into the corner, but we also got an off-track penalty in terms of safety score, despite going off onto a part of the track that was designed to be run off onto. So we kind of got the best of both, well, the worst of both worlds there, perhaps. I'm just a little bit unsure as to why the safety thing was there, because it didn't necessarily feel unsafe, and perhaps the only reason I can think of for it being unsafe was, perhaps the inevitable rejoin. I'll talk more about this in a moment, but let's first consider this one. Again, that was turn 4. Loads of runoff. I didn't feel particularly unsafe. I was in complete control of the car. The surface that I was on allowed me to remain in control. And let's see if this, yeah, so the incident's cleared, which means we can now try this. And again, loads of runoff, loads of paved runoff that's easy to drive on. It's not like I was driving on grass or gravel or anywhere that was, potentially going to send my car, rolling over and over and over and, making me lose control. Which leads me to wonder why I'm being given a safety, why I'm being penalised in terms of safety for that corner, or for that going off the track there. So let's reset to the pits, and then I'll have a quick talk about over the track map about essentially what we saw. So if I can bring up the track map again. Okay, so you can see it in front of you. I can't see it in front of me. It's kind of on my second monitor. So going back to, in fact, we won't do that because anyway, I really should have come up with a better plan for this. So turn 3, okay, on the exit of turn 3, all of that runoff, the only potential safety concern I can see with that is the rejoin, okay, because on the run from 3 down to 4, assuming everybody's going to be running single file, everyone's going to be on the right-hand side of that track to get the best entry into turn 4. Okay, so rejoining after you've gone off onto the runoff from turn 3 is potentially dangerous. That's the only sort of reason I can see from a safety perspective of awarding a 1x sanction for going off track there. Same story with turn 4. On the exit of turn 4, a lot of cars are going to be on the right-hand side of the track there to get the entry into turn 5. So rejoining on the right-hand side there is probably going to be a little bit dangerous. On the exit of turn 5, the only sort of thing I can think of in terms of safety for that one is that the runoff exists. Like, for example, if I just remove this for a second and then head on, in fact, if we skip this back here and then we'll just accelerate the car forward. So if we go off track here, the only sort of safety concern I can see is that this runoff doesn't last forever, and that there's a little patch of grass here on like the line back onto the track, which could potentially be a safety concern. On the exit of turn 7, again, there's loads of runoff on the left-hand side there, and once more, the only safety concern I can think of is the rejoin, with everybody being on that left-hand side of the track, looking to get the best possible entry into turn 8. And then finally, the entry into turn 11, again, loads of like safe, I say safe, flat, smooth, grippy surface to regain control of the car on. Doesn't necessarily feel like an unsafe place to go off track, which is kind of torpedoing my theory that this first test is kind of torpedoing my hypothesis to start with. So let's end this particular step here and we'll go on to the next track. Stay with me. I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so the next track we're going to look at is Spa. Now, on the left-hand side there, we've got the off-track rules, or the track limits rules, if you like, and we're going to sort of abuse those. So again, I'll get the car out on track. You can, well, forget it. I'll just get the car on track. I really should have scripted this. Just stay with me. Don't go away. Okay, so we're back. We're on track. Let's tackle some obvious sort of culprits, shall we? I don't think it's really possible to cut turn 1 without causing you serious problems. There's clearly a good safety reason for not going off track on the exit of the corner there, because you've got the gravel trap that could potentially cause an issue. So the first obvious one to look at really is Eau Rouge and Radion. Okay, so if we miss the corner, completely mug it off entirely, we get 1x and we get a slowdown. Again, I'm asking myself, was that necessarily unsafe? The profile of the corner sends people over to the right hand side of the track as you rejoin, and yeah, okay, I'm not really sure. What about Lacoon? If we mug that off, okay, it was a little bit bouncy. We get the slowdown because, I cut the corner and gained an advantage. But again, the 1x, it doesn't, to me, make sense with my sort of understanding of what a safety rating system is supposed to do. That didn't feel unsafe. I was in control of the car. Yes, it was a little bit bouncy and bumpy, but as far as I'm concerned, that's what runoffs are for. They're supposed to be a safe place to leave the track should you need to. I don't feel as though I should be punished for making what is the right decision sometimes to leave the track. So what about Puon? Yeah, again, I've absolutely gained an advantage by running off the track because I was able to carry more speed through the corner, but was it unsafe? I would argue possibly not. What else can we look at? So, the only ones that kind of spring to mind are the exit of Blanchimont, round about here, where I'm going to get an off-track. Again, this doesn't feel unsafe. That looks like runoff to me, and looks like a safe place to go. Was that No, this is Blanchimont, isn't it? I think if we go off track here, in fact, I know you get a 1x for going on that runoff. I'm not going to do a second lap because this track is long, alright? And, of course, you'd absolutely get an off-track and a slowdown for cutting the bus stop chicane at the end there. From experience, we know that. Okay, so, again, we're raising questions here of why are we getting a 1x for leaving the track here, I can absolutely understand the slowdown, but this does not look like an unsafe place to be. Okay, all right, it's probably not the safest place to. Again, the only safety concern I can think of is the rejoin, because this part of the corner, I would maybe expect a lot of cars to be on this outside curb, and as we progress through the corner here, depending on who's got it right and who's got it wrong, I'm kind of expecting people to be roughly where my car is, but on the other side of the white line as I rejoin. You could argue that were this a race and I'd left the track, the correct thing to do would be to continue off the track until we've exited the corner and rejoin down this piece of track. Okay, as people are starting to move over to the left-hand side for the long chicane, whatever that's called. So again, questions I'm raising here are, are iRacing kind of getting it wrong? In your opinion? In my opinion, I think using off tracks, the safety system to enforce track limits just feels a little bit disingenuous. I'm interested to hear what you think. Anyway, I'm not going to ramble on about this. I've got a few questions to ask at the end of the video. Let's crack on and have a look at the next track. Stand by. I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so the final track that we're going to look at today is Sebring. Now, I'm not going to be at all surprised if you guess which corner we're going to look at. It's, of course, Le Mans, or the entry to Le Mans, and also a little bit of Sunset Bend, actually. So, bear with me a minute. I'm going to get the car on track, and we'll have a look at those corners. Stay there. Okay, so as we get distracted by trying to turn the recording back on, we're on the run down to Le Mans now. So here we go. So we're going to go all the way over to the left hand side here and get a nice straight entry and exit from the corner, really straighten this corner out, and we've received neither an off-track penalty, incident point, nor a slowdown, despite the fact that we've gained a incredible advantage compared to someone who might have stayed within the white lines. Same detail with Sunset. You can absolutely go all the way out to these cones on the entry, and on the exit, cross over the white line here, get right up to the wall to really carry as much speed and momentum as you can. All right, granted, that probably wasn't the cleanest execution of Sunset I've ever made in my life, but I think it goes to sort of highlight the point. If all of those other corners that we looked at if it was unsafe to go on the runoff areas of all the other corners that we looked at, such as I don't know, the runoff. Excuse me, I'm rewinding much too far there. Such as, I don't know, the runoff at Pouhon, for example. If that was unsafe and I deserved an incident point for it, then surely the entry to Le Mans here fits the same category, because it's kind of it's outside of track limits, as denoted by the white lines, and by this, it kind of fits the same sort of category as all the other runoffs at Interlagos and Spa. So why am I not getting an incident point here? Why am I not getting a slowdown either? I gained an advantage compared to someone who might have stayed within the white lines. And then same detail as we accelerate towards Sunset. Let's just stick the car in a chase view here, and then head down to the corner. Alright, okay, this wasn't the cleanest execution of Sunset. I probably should have been a little bit, quite a lot further over to the right-hand side here on entry. But as we go through the corner, I'm already over this white line on that mid-corner, trying to make the best use of the track. If the track limit is the white line, should we not be driving to that white line? And similarly, on the exit here, I would argue that crossing the white line here is actually less safe than a lot of the other corners that we've looked at, because look how close the wall is. If you get that wrong, that's going to cause some massive dramas. So surely the white line is there for a reason. You know, you're not to cross it because it's potentially dangerous. You know, those are track limits. You know, these are just my thoughts, of course. You know, obviously, you know, this is a borderline hypocritical because whenever I've raced here, I have followed the exact same line that everyone else does through Le Mans and through Sunset, using, you know, all of the available racing surface to my best advantage, as long as I'm not picking up any incidents or, you know, slowdown penalties. But that leads me to wonder, is that necessarily the right thing to do? Why these corners? Why is it okay with these corners but not okay with the others? And if this wrong one. And if this rule exists, what is the purpose of this rule if not to enforce the use of track limits? So I guess I'm kind of presenting a question for you. Do you think iRacing might have it wrong? Do you think iRacing should be using a safety rating system to enforce track limits, or do you think they should be using this rule in the sporting code to enforce track limits? Do you think we should be making more frequent use of the slowdown system to enforce track limits? I'm personally a little bit conflicted. I have I don't necessarily have an issue with you know, using the same lines and conventional wisdom as everyone else seems to be using if the rules are made clear. But as it is, I don't feel as though the rules are very clear. So yeah, there we go. I mean, that's essentially what my question is. What do you guys think? Please do let me know in the comments below. I'm interested to hear your views. Like I say, it seems that my hypothesis about the off-track incidents has turned out to be correct. Incorrect. It has turned out to be wrong in that the off-track incident points appear to be being used to enforce track limits. But that also has me wondering, was that the original intent for these off-track incident points? Were they originally supposed to let you know that you've gone off track somewhere that it's unsafe to do so, and they've since kind of, their purpose has since changed to enforcing track limits? What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm genuinely interested to hear your thoughts, feedback. I'm interested to hear what you think about the Daytona replay that sort of kicked all this off. Yeah, let's see how this does. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed the discussion, please leave a like on the video. If you're here, you know, for the second or third time, consider subscribing. Maybe this is the first one of these kind of videos that I've done. It's the first sort of discussion video that I've done, and I'm not sure whether or not it's really going to catch on. I'm not sure how many of them I can really think about doing, to be honest. I'd much prefer to be racing, but there we go. Thanks very much for your kind attention and your time. I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.